support associate to get added to my team for one of
Okay.
my clients. And then what I
Okay.
need actually, Vamsi, is somebody who understands the concept on the Java application support, as
Okay.
well as working on the Unix, Linux server support, and
Okay.
also the knowledge on the AWS cloud. So that is
Okay.
what my need. Okay.
Okay.
So considering that, I would like to understand your candidature, your expertise, Vamsi. If you can, give me a little summary around what kind of work have you done, and if you
Okay.
can cover the primary aspects that I spoke about.
Okay. So coming to the experience, I have a good experience all the three areas that you basically mentioned. Coming to the Java, visual, and the various kinds of the Java RESTful web services, and a time to handle these web services and apply to the respective region, or so from the using the Linux, and also matching the Linux environment to the responsible for the development with the various application, from the open to like from the top to bottom, and also with the also with the continuous integration and the deployment, using the REST APIs, and the converting the Spring Boot and into the framework, using the writing some class functions, and also responsible for the sprint planning, and make sure that the review meetings, and also on the personal in application code, and also responsible in the release management. Yeah, and also coming with to the REST APIs integration, in this case using the custom class functions and creating Ansible playbook from the batch management of the Linux and Unix administration. In the case analysis, I started using the cloud formation in AWS for the deployment of application code, from the third were files and going for deployment, and during the release management, and also implementing in the case, and those things as far as the application the code, and collecting the RESTful APIs, and doing the deployment, and also making sure the target machine and the custom classes function in the and during the Maven, it's like a deployment stage, and also able to release the batch functions, and basically that was doing from the Linux administration, and that kind of at environment, so I can say that so once all the setup, and then go back to the deployment onto the AWS services using the Docker, and once the playbook is created, and then going to the pushing all the images to the Docker, and then doing multi-container deployment there, and then from there creating a cluster and some nodes and brokers into the Kubernetes, and trying to host that into the AWS, using some RDS the databases, and the Elastic research, and then
I'm sorry. I'm having some trouble with my connection here. I'm repeatedly losing you. So what I'll do, Vamsi, is let me do this if that works for you.
Okay.
We will disconnect this Zoom. We will redial into the. Then we will not do the audio on Zoom. We will just do the video on Zoom. And I'll call you on your.
So I didn't understand you. Was that?
I am saying I will call you on your cell phone. I have the number.
Okay.
862-397-0639.
Yes.
Okay. So I'll call you there, and then we will keep you on Zoom. Okay?
Okay.
Super. Thank you so much, Vamsi.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks. Vamsi?
Yeah. Can you able to hear me?
I can. Very good. So this is much better, Vamsi. All right.
Yeah, that's it.
So if you can turn the video also on, and we'll keep this.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, my dear.
Just give me a minute.
Sure.
Actually, I thought it's an audio call, and then I turned off it. That's okay. I'll go back again.
It's just for a few minutes, Vamsi.
Yeah, that's fine.
I just want to. Yeah.
So how are you doing today? Good?
Doing very well, doing very well. Were you able to restart the video?
Yeah, I'm trying to restart. Hello?
Yes, Vamsi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Very good, very good. All right, this is much better. All right,
Okay.
So yeah, you were talking about some Docker implementation.
Yeah. So
Okay.
See, like they're pushing that all the images into the Docker, and then so yeah, I just forgot the. I mean, like I lost the flow, but that's okay.
Okay.
And
No
yeah,
problem.
pushing all the images into the Docker. On the top of that, responsible for causing the Docker container images in the application and also the maintenance work on the top of the application, and also trying to keep the part into the images into the container, and doing multi-container the deployment. And so once the multi-container deployment is done, the images are pushed into the Docker Hub. And from there, from the Docker Hub, I try to pull that images into the Kubernetes, and as well also I also worked on the Kafka. So basically, the recent project I'm working on Kafka, but before I used to work on the Kubernetes. So in the Kubernetes, I try to create the cluster, and based on the what the requirement I have to host into the AWS. So usually I try to create the nodes and the brokers, and also try to create some VPCs and IAM service files. And also when I created a cluster there, I just try to dump that into the S3 and the storage function, and from there create the Lambda function, and I do write the Python coding there. So before it gets hosted, so as a kind of a rolling update of application of Kubernetes. On top of that, we have a release management without any the downtime in production.
Okay. Okay. So very briefly, I'll just ask you some very basic, questions, just so that we can get this going. Tell me, what do you understand by the word CI/CD pipeline? What does that mean to you?
So if actually CI/CD pipeline for me for in a project, I mean, like if an application is running well and you have a lot of the data in your application, and you want to put that into a form. I mean, like usually it used to be in a data center in previous, but now once the cloud comes up into the light, so people want to do an CI/CD integration, so that they can host that into the AWS or GCP or Azure, whatever the cloud it is. So basically, when I start doing with the continuous integration, so make sure that I push the code into the Git, and from the Git, and I try to pull that into the Maven and just give a build. And from build, I try to use it to try to make sure the done deployment automatically, so you don't have to make changes every time. So using the full SCM, so I try to make Jenkins do automation building. Once it's done, everything was there, I try to put that into the artifact using a JFrog, and I'm taking snapshots, and then I put that into the, so basically don't have to do it a number of times with the deployment in automation build in the Jenkins. So then install that, able to do in the artifact refactor, and using that, Ansible and playbook creation, and do the blue-green deployment for multi-clusters, so that we don't have to be worried about the failure, and also work on the Jenkins service, and try to locate that, whatever the problem it is, you can go back to the Artifactory using the snapshots Maven. So basically, if you ask me, the understanding of a CI/CD means, basically, if you want to do something into the cloud, I mean, like if you want to go back into the cloud and save your data, so I feel like a DevOps comes into the light. So CI/CD thing has to be in a perfect manner, so that your code gets. Usually, you used to have an automation testers before, but now we are not having too many testers and QA team with us, right? So basically, we do it ourselves. The developer has to do it by self, and then try to make sure that go in this process, so that the very code good. And everything architecture will be in a in a style, so that so you don't have to go back and go, and so one by one, like a pipeline. So basically, it's a kind of you manufacture.
I got it. Vamsi. I got it. Okay. All right. One request that I want to make to you, Vamsi.
Yeah.
try and keep your answers very relevant. Try and keep your answers very short. The reason why I'm saying that, Vamsi, between you and I, it still works because I'm trying to still judge your capabilities. What will happen next, Vamsi, is at some point in time, maybe early next week or mid next week, I will, for the selected candidates, I will schedule a client round of interview. And client, they will be like 4 or 5, maybe 6 people based on their availabilities and everything. And they will be speaking with you. You do not have to worry about how many people are talking, but then they will talk one by one, right? So initial 10 minutes, somebody will talk. Initial other 10 minutes, somebody else will talk. Now, what I do not want to happen is, if you give lengthy answers, if you give long answers, then they will not get an opportunity to ask you multiple questions.
I got you.
Right? So I would want you to keep it concise, as precise as possible, as powerful as possible in a shorter format. Okay? All right.
I got you.
My next question, something that I would want to know from you, Vamsi, is what kind of work have you done on cloud? You said EC2 is what you said. What other services have you used on cloud, especially on AWS?
So when it comes to the cloud, I used CloudFormation and Elastic Search, and also which will private VPCs, and also responsible for also API and gateways and RDS and Postgres Redis and the Lambda functions and API gateway integration and deployment.
So very basic question, Vamsi. What is meant by an event in a cloud? What do you know? What do you think could an event mean in the cloud environment?
So event in a cloud is an interaction with the API, so which can be tackled by the cloud. So basically, we can have anything with the shutdown of instance, or maybe launch of a new instance, or maybe uploading an object to a free creation onto the new the virtual machine.
So essentially, what you're telling me is it is a trigger, is what you're telling me.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you used CloudTrail by any chance? CloudTrail?
Yes. Actually, I worked on CloudTrail.
Can you tell me what a CloudTrail would mean?
So it's like an event that the cloud, basically, when sometimes developers actually working on the provision instance, so they want to check that instance has been provisioned by them by using the browser. When it's kind of an compliance the report creation and the connections, specific ideas, and that when developer want to get an access to the cloud, in that case, we can use it.
Okay. What kind of commands have you used, Vamsi, on the Unix or Linux systems? Let's say, give me a few examples, maybe top 5 commands that you may have used to either say extract some information, maybe change permissions, anything of that sort. So top 5 commands that you may have used on Unix or Linux.
chmod and chown and cd vim ls rm cp.
Okay, good stuff. Okay. Have you been able to read logs from an application? Yes.
Hello.
Are you? Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah. I can able to hear you.
Yeah.
Actually, I got a call and I just tried to.
Okay.
I just tried to disconnect.
Yeah. So just some high level logs. How would you monitor the logs? What would you do? What tools would you use? What kind of information would you look in the logs?
So basically, if you ask me that what kind of thing, it's like style /var log /access dot log OSHO, so kind of thing. Like when I actually try to use some of the other Elastic search, log slash like Kibana, and a part of that, so you can able to look the various kinds of dashboards. So we actually try to extract the logs in the Linux in the Splunk dashboard, that we're able to create some custom queries in this case, and the command line. Now we can use like customs like talif, tail, cat, weave, more, less.
Okay. All right. Very nice. Okay. So where in the United States are you based, Vamsi? Where do you live? Where do you stay? Where are you working these days?
So I'm right now working with Edward Jones in St. Louis.
St. Louis,
it's in it was in Mamatun Junction.
Okay. And as you may be aware, my position, Vamsi, is based out of Harrison, New York.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes,
which is a place very close to New York City. Within the New York City, you can say it is in the circumference of New York City, roughly 40-50 miles away from New York City. How comfortable are you to relocate to this region?
Yeah, I'm perfectly happy or comfortable, whatever you like, so I'm comfortable in moving to any location in the United States. And that too, if it in a case, like, to explain you very briefly that, so many people would say this answer, but when it comes to New York thing, so we have in New Jersey in the right behind, right? So I can travel from New Jersey.
I live in New Jersey.
Okay. So I travel from New Jersey. That's not a problem.
But that may not work out very well. I'll be very honest with you, because I live in New Jersey. I know it.
Okay.
Traveling to Harrison on a daily basis is slightly difficult. Reason being, it is from New Jersey, it becomes roughly 70 miles, maybe 60, 65 miles one way. So driving 60-65 miles one way on a daily basis becomes difficult. And the kind of role that I'm looking at, Vamsi, is 100% office-based role, because support, you cannot do it remotely, right? I mean, you understand what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah.
Right. So my and I like your idea, and I will help you with that at some point in time. May not be New Jersey, but then for Harrison especially, I have got some people who work out of Harrison, New York, but they live in Stamford, Connecticut, which is closer from there.
Okay, it comes to Long Island, right?
No. Connecticut is a state.
Yeah.
And
it's
Stamford is a city in Connecticut, which is roughly 20 miles from Harrison. So that commute is much less. The cost of living in Stamford is relatively lower as compared to living in New York. So that all adds up in the right way. And we have people doing that. So if at all you come on board, if at all you join, if everything goes well, I should be able to guide you through that process also.
Yeah, that's fine. That's totally fine. I appreciate it. Thanks for that. Thanks for letting me know.
Wonderful. Okay. Another thing that I wanted to ask you, Vamsi, is what kind of an engagement are you looking at with Synexon? Are you coming through a different employer to us, or how is it?
No.
Do you have an employer?
So can you say that question? Can you ask the question again, please?
Okay, sure. So what I'm trying to ask you is, do you currently have an employer in terms of your visa status and everything? Do you have an employer right now with you?
Yes, I do have an employer for myself.
Okay, so you're coming to us from a corp to corp basis, right? Is that what it is?
Yes, it is.
Okay, makes sense. Okay, cool. And that works.
Okay, thanks.
Just wanted to confirm that. All right. So.
Hello.
Give me a second. I'm sorry about this.
That's okay.
Sound on my side.
Yeah, I can understand. I can understand. That's not a problem. I was listening since the call started, but that's okay. I can understand.
Sorry about that. And that was the reason why I wanted to have this call moved to Friday, but then that's fine. Okay. So, Vamsi, I think I'm pretty much covered from my side. Any questions that you may want to ask me? Anything that you would like to know from me?
So, what will be the team size? I mean, so what will be the day-to-day things, and what will be the next steps if this was if you feel like if this went through well, and then what will be
These are multiple questions. You have to ask me one question at a time. These are very different questions.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for that.
Yeah. Let's go one by one. Yeah. Ask me first question first.
So what will be the team size?
Okay. So currently what I'm doing, Vamsi, is I'm trying to create this team for my client, Transamerica, wherein I'm trying to bring at least 4 to 5 people onshore. I'm trying to work various locations for them. And then I'm also going to expand the team in India. So that will also be a team. So roughly, I would say a team size of 10 people, so to say, spread out across United States. So you may have somebody working with you at Harrison or at another location within the United States.
Okay.
Then you will also have a team in Pune, in India, where you will have an extended team, and then we will do some transitions and things like that. So that's how the plan looks like.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Okay. So your next question was what are the day-to-day activities? So let me tell you a little bit about the role. So as I said, we are working for Transamerica as the customer. We are their preferred IT partners. So they are the owners of applications or say the solutions or the frameworks or whatever that would mean. And we are their IT partners. So we bring in expertise from a IT standpoint, either on projects or on deployments or on support or on monitoring, anything of that sort, right?
Okay.
So that's what we do. Now, Transamerica compulsorily works in the financial services domain. So all these applications that I'm talking to you about have a insurance angle to them. So they may have some say some monetary transactions happening, or some applications would be around a retirement plan, or some applications would be around say budgeting. Some applications could be around forecasting. So all these various applications, and then your role that I'm looking at, or rather this role that I'm looking at right now, is somebody who will be able to, on a day-to-day basis, support these applications if there is an issue that happens.
Okay, I got you.
Right?
Yeah, it makes sense.
So they may not be, this team may not be directly responsible for code fixes if there is a larger code fix required. However, the things that I was asking you that, hey, can we read the logs, or hey, can we identify what the issue is, or can we kind of isolate the problem, and then we give it to some other team who will be responsible for fixing it through the right process, through the right channel.
Okay.
Make sense?
It makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense.
Very good. Very good. Another question. You have one more question?
So I got with the expectations as well. And so tools in the kind of what tools you're using in CI/CD kind of thing, CI/CD creations, in the pipeline. What tools are you using right now? Is there any chance that you can
primarily? Primarily, the usage is around Jenkins and Maven. These are the tools that are being used for the pipeline creation and deployment. And of course, there are some Kafka. What do you say? There is Kafka that the team uses, Kubernetes that the team uses. Definitely, they use Docker creations and Docker implementations. Definitely, they use Splunk for monitoring and log tracking and everything. So all these tools are being used. So complete array of the support tools is available. Most of these applications that I'm talking to you about in the current state are on-premise, but they